Hi everybody and welcome back to this channel and to this INDESIGN course. In this video we're going to talk about color. So I'm going to show you how to apply the color of our graphics for the fill and for the stroke. And also we're going to see how to create and add new swatches and to save them here in INDESIGN. But first of all, as always, let's briefly recap what we've seen in the last lesson. So in the last lesson we talked about effects. I showed you some special effects we can apply to the graphics, both raster and vector. And then we saw a special graphic, which is the QR code. So let me show you how again. Let's go here on the polygon tool, for example. All right. We already know how to put some basic color. So from the bar control up here. All right. And now, if you remember, we have to go on Window and open the Effects panel. Here we are. But I also showed you that you can go up here on this icon, and you can find also here the effects you can work with. Alright, so let's select our graphic. Let's go up here on the right of the panel, Effects, and let's click one. Again, this menu is gonna show up. I always suggest you to check this box so you can see what you're doing while you're doing it. And then let's work. So here on the left we have the effects, and on the right we have the parameters we can set. So here we have the blending mode and opacity. So it's like the intensity. So now if you notice, we can see the effects on the edges. And we can also change that by going here on source and put center. So now we have these inner glow effects right on the middle, that it's spreading all over the graphic. Then you can choose the technique, softer or more precise, and the noise effect. Alright, so it's actually really simple, and it works like this for every effect you choose. So you just double click on the effects you want to apply, and then you have the parameters that you can set. Let's go on cancel. Okay, so this is how to apply effects. Let's see now how we can generate a QR code. So we have to go up here on object, generate QR code. So the QR code is quick response code. So it's like a code that you can scan with your smartphone or tablet to read the message that's behind it. We have different type of message we can send. So we have the plain text, so you can just type whatever you want, or you can put a website, or again text message, writing also your phone number, or same thing but with the email, and then a business card, where you can fill these boxes and have all the information that usually are on a business card. Alright, so let's do plain text. Let's write a message. Alright, and then we can also choose a color. Let's choose a blue, and then we can go on OK. So here we are, we have to click and drag, depending of course on how big we want it to be. And here we are, so we have our QR code, and if you go on it with the smartphone, you're gonna see the message that's behind it. So again, really simple. Alright, so let's start with today's lesson. Alright, so let's close the panel here and let's read the QR code. We can still use this though, so I'm gonna show you right with this graphic how to apply some colors. Alright, so here we are with our graphic. Let's now open the panels that we're gonna use in this lesson. Let's go up here on Window, Color. We have here all together these three panels. Let's open them. So, color here, then gradient, and last but not least, swatches. Alright, perfect. So, as you can see from here, we can choose the color for the fill or for the stroke. So, for the outline of the star in this case. Here on this panel, swatches, we can see the list of colors we have, so the preset swatches that INDESIGN offers us. but we can of course add new ones, as many as we want. So first of all, let's work with the color panel right here on the left, and let's start working with it. So the first thing you want to do is decide where to work, either on the fill or on the stroke of the graphic. In this case, let's start with the fill. We have here the intensity of the color, as we also have here at the bottom. So we can choose how strong we want it to be. And we can also decide it from the percentage. So of course 100% is the strongest we can have. Then, of course, important as always in every panel is this bottom here. As you can see now, we have a different library of colors we can choose from. The most common ones are RGB, CMYK. Usually this one is for documents you're gonna print, and the last one, RGB, is for digital documents. So we can choose this one. As you can see now, the panel is a bit different. So now I have these 3 parameters that I can, of course, manage till I find the perfect shade I want. We could also do it from the bottom here. So as you can see, I have all the colors here I can choose from. Or I can also do it by double click here on this square. And here we are on the color picker panel. So maybe this is a more precise way to choose the perfect shade that we want. So we can do it here on the left. And then we can choose the warmth of the color. So warmer here, colder here. And as you can see now, we have again this colors library. I'm gonna give you now a nice tip in order to get the white or black color. So we're gonna work with these 2 libraries here. So in order to get the black, we're just gonna write 0 in these parameters here. And here we are, we just got the black. While instead, if we wanna get the white, we are gonna write 0 on these other parameters, so in this other library. Here we are, we got a white. So it's a nice tip if you want to remember it. Okay, so let's say I just found the perfect color I want to save from a graphic, and it's so perfect that I want to save it, so I will not lose it. How can we do that? Let's go here on Add RGB Swatch. And if you notice, it immediately got add up here on the Swatches panel, so in the list of colors that I have saved. So no matter what happened, I will have this color here. So anytime you open InDesign and start working with a new document, you always are gonna find this color, this swatch right here. Alright, then let's go on OK. And of course, because my graphic was selected, as you can see, it changed the color of it. Okay, same thing for the stroke of my graphic. It works the same way, so we're gonna just double click here. And here we are again on this panel, ready to choose our new color. So we can navigate here, or if you already have in mind a particular color, we can also write the parameters here. Because of course, every color has different values here, different parameters. Let's choose this for example, alright. Of course, for example, for this, we could also open the stroke panel that we already saw, where we could increase the weight of it and also the type. Let's put it right back here. Perfect. Alright, so let's study a bit better this panel here of swatches. As you can see here, there's the list. At the bottom, we have some buttons that allows us to delete some swatches, to add a new one, to create new color group, or to change how we see them. As always, we have the bottom on the right top here. Again, we can add a new color swatch, gradient swatch, or color group. Then, for example, if we select a new one, this one, we can go back right here, and you see we have a few more options that we can look at. So, for example, we can save it. And in this case, InDesign is going to save it as a file on our computer. So we can just save it here in our folder and then have it always right here. Then again, we have a few options for the views. So for the list here, we can choose to have a smaller one or to have the just the icon without the name and the number, or to a large way. I personally prefer to have it the large way, so I'm gonna keep it like this, but again, completely up to you. Alright, so let's now look at the gradient panel. Alright, so let's work with the fill. Alright, and so we have two different types, linear and radial. Radial is from the center. Here we are, and we can also reverse it. And then we have linear, so from a side to the other one. And also here we can, of course, reverse it. Okay, how we can change the colors? We have to click right here on these squares, which we can find at the edges of this line. And here we are, as you can see now, we have this library of colors. We can always, of course, change it, whatever you want. And okay, all right, so let's find a color we like. We can also change it from here, or again, double click, as you want. Perfect, we like this one. Let's change the other one. So let's click here, and with the black, we have to go right here on the bottom right and choose the library we want. And again, let's choose the color we like. And here we are. So we have our two different colors. And then if we go back here on the panel, move this white tool here. And as you can see, I'm gonna have some different effects on the graphic. So depending on where it stands, I'm gonna have a different result. We can also add a few more if you just click randomly here on the line. And again, depending on where they are, you're gonna get more and different effects. And then you can also right here, of course, we can reverse the gradient again, or we can choose the angle. So let's go with a 35. So you just have to become a bit more familiar with it, and then as soon as you got the idea of it, you can create really creative and special effects. Alright, one last tool I want to show you. It's a tool we can find here on the left side, and it's the gradient swatch tool. So let's click on it. What you have to do is to click and then drag as much as you want in order to create more effects. You can do from everywhere you want, so every side. And of course, the effects change depending on how much you drag. So for example, you can drag a lot like this, or just a bit one, and you're gonna have this. So of course, it's completely up to you. Enjoy, play with it, work with it in order to find the perfect solution you're looking for. And of course, the same thing, you can do it with a stroke. So now we were just working with the feel of the graphic, but you can, of course, also do it with the stroke. Alright, so at this point, we could also save this swatch gradient we just created. How can we do that? Let's go here and new gradient swatch. Perfect, and then okay. Perfect, so we always have it saved right here. Alright, so one last thing I want to show you and I want to talk to you about is the InDesign styles. So let's close this panel, or I mean let's put them right back here. Alright, now of course we have a panel for it, so let's go on Window and Styles. We have many, as you can see, because of course you can save and set a style for every different thing you're working on. So for example, in this case we are going to talk about object styles, but you can also set a style for a text, so paragraph and characters, but also for the table and the cell of the tables. So let's click here, object styles. This that we have here is already a style because we have a graphic and we applied on it some color, gradient, we changed the stroke, for example, so with these dots. So it's what we could call a style. How can we save it? So we can do it with this button here, for example. Let's click on it, and here we are, object style 1. If we double click on it, this menu is going to show up. And first of all, we can change the name. So let's type star style, for example, right? And then here, as you can see, we have a few parameters and settings. First of all, we have the basic attributes. So as you can see, we have a different type of attributes. We have some colors attributes, so the fill, the stroke, and with all the swatches that we saw before. And then we have stroke and corner options, so the parameters we can find in a stroke panel. And for example, you could also make changes right here now. So if you change your mind and you want to change the color of the stroke, we're just going to go here, color we want, and here we are. And here we are, the stroke has changed. If we keep scrolling right here, as you can see, we also find some attributes for the text. Because as we said before, we can also make styles for text. So for whole paragraphs or for characters. So for example, if you want to make a special creative title for your text, you can make all the changes. So the font, so which type of font, the font size, which kind of color you want to use, and then you can save the style. And that way you can always find it right saved here in INDESIGN, and you can also use it for your future projects. Well, instead we have the effects for object, stroke, fill, or text. So the same effects we already saw in the last video. So you just have to click on them, and here we are, we have exactly the same parameters that we can find on the effects panel. So now I'm not gonna show you again. If you missed the lesson about them, you can always find the video in this channel of this INDESIGN course. So once you've set all the parameters, all the settings you want, we can go on OK. And here we are, we just saved the star style. So now anytime we want, we can use it on every object. So let's, for example, create a new graphic. Let's use the pen tool. And here we are, let's create this. Now, of course, we are on basic graphics frame, so we don't have a style. If we go click here we are, exactly the same style. So it's really easy and it's really useful because it's going to save you a lot of time. So you don't have to create it from scratch again every time, but you always have it saved right here. Alright, so also for this lesson it's all. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, don't forget to practice this at home. In the next lesson, we are going to talk about books. So I'm going to show you how to create one and how to work with it. So stay tuned. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye bye, everybody.